Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Breevas and Wise podcast. You're back with the man Breeva, and today it is my massive honour to talk with the big fella himself, the warrior, Australia's strongest man. Was it 2017-18, cuz?
Yeah, 17.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
17.
um, yeah. So the big strong man, Mr. Rongo, the warrior Keene. What is happening, my cuz?
Kia ora te whānau. What's up, everyone? First of all, brother, thank you so much for having me on, man. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited just to talk about life, things in general, man. So, man, thank you once again.
Uh, the pleasure is mine, brother. The pleasure is all mine. So, bro, before we get into all the questions, bro, how's life, bro? How's life over in Kalgoorlie, with the whole COVID situation? How's the
You
whānau
know,
handling everything, bro?
yeah, well, first of all, shout out to everyone that's watching. Sending out love to you and your whānau. With COVID right now, I know a lot of people are affected, so just sending our love out to you all. For us here in Kalgoorlie, which is in Western Australia, we live in the desert in the middle of nowhere. So we're mining, okay, and we're very fortunate here in mining. COVID has not hit Western Australia that hard as other states, so we're very lucky and very fortunate. Especially the town we live in, we are 6 hours out of Perth into the desert. So life for us hasn't changed, and it wouldn't really change. Not with mining. Mining doesn't stop. Money keeps moving. Western Australia mining is the backbone of Australia. So I'm very thankful and fortunate that it hasn't affected me and my family. So just want to send love out to everyone. We're going good, man. You know, life is good. Very grateful, very thankful for things we have and opportunities we have.
Yeah, 100%, brother. You got to be thankful and grateful. Which leads me to my first thing, and we started doing this a couple of weeks ago. We call it Gratefuls, and we adapted this from a group called YKTR, where we
Okay.
mention what we're grateful for, and it's always just remembering to be grateful. So my grateful for
Oh,
today is just the fact of my position of where I am in life, the fact I get to interact with so many different people of walks of life, and get to hear their stories and hopefully inspire the younger generation, as well as people who are sort of lost in the system or lost in their way.
yep,
But for
yep.
you, bro, have you got a grateful for today?
Grateful for today, brother. Is gee, I have too many, bro. You know, I wake up with gratitude before my feet hit the floor, bro. I'm going through my list. You know, that's what I've always done. Today,
Mm,
honestly, bro. Number one, bro. I'm grateful to be here with all of you. That's one thing I'm very grateful for. Um, uh, as I moved through the day today, I was very grateful to be present with everyone that I communicate with throughout the day, man. So present with people.
100%, brother, 100%. So let's go right back to the beginning. So from my understanding, you're from the Hawke's Bay area, bro. Is it Mohawks? Is it Mohawka?
Yes, that's it, my brother.
Um,
So
bro, shout out
so
to
far,
everyone
I
from
was
Mohawka.
the other far note Hawke's Bay area. So I was whāngai at a young age. Okay, at the age of 8, I was whāngai to family, and I was taken back home to our grassroots, which is Moaka, which is in between Wairoa and Napier, half hour out
Mm,
of Wairoa. Um, with all stories out there, with all of people can relate, you know, my mother and father split, and my father was unable to look after me. And with all whāngai children out there that have been whāngai for your family, it's the best thing that can happen. You know, you get whāngai to a family. I was very lucky and fortunate that I was whāngai with another 5 boys that were also whāngai too at the same time. So I'm very grateful and thankful that I had 5 cousins that turned into be brothers. You know, we were all whāngai at the same time. We all were the same age, and we all grew up together. And we were brought up on a farm. Where we lived, there was only one street light, and there were no shops. We were on the farm, and it taught all of us um, to be grateful for things. You know what I mean? We were the homestead, so we learned to look after the land. We learned to look after our people. We learned to take in our people when they came home. You know, we learned to bury our family. We learned to look after our family. We were brought up on the marae, you know, and those are the foundations to be Māori. That's where it all stems from, you know, to learn your whakapapa, your history, but also to learn to look after your whānau, you know. So we were the homestead. So me and my brothers, um, we were brought up. Um, well, our whāngai father was a hard man, though.
mm,
He looked after the homestead. His father before him was a hard man. So there was no nonsense in our house. It was, you want something, you work hard for it. And that's how we were brought
mm,
up. So it became normal to us, that nothing was ever going to be given, that if you wanted something, you had to work for it. And man, till
mm,
this very day, I'm so grateful and thankful that he brought us up with those teachings. So man, life for me was when I was whangaed, when I was adopted, man, life was hard at times,
mm.
but as you grow and as you learn, you actually learn like, hey, things weren't too bad. Look where it got me to today. So I'm very
Yep.
grateful and thankful, man. I had a great upbringing. At the
Mm.
time, and I'm sure everyone out there can relate. At the time, you're like, man, getting it high, rough as getting
Yeah,
it rough.
this sucks.
How come they get all this? How come they get all that? And I'm grateful and thankful for those moments, bro. One thing people don't know though is before I was adopted, my real parents never let me go to school. Okay,
Mm,
so um, I missed out on a lot of school, which means I missed out on a lot of education. So
mm,
at the age of 8, when I was adopted, man, I had the IQ of like a 6-year-old, 5-year-old. I had
yep.
missed it all. So it became challenging starting primary school. It was hard, but it came with it, bro. You know what I mean? It wasn't easy, but it was something that I had to work with, try my best, and do my best, pretty much.
Mm. Yeah, 100%, brother. So with that whole upbringing and being brought up on the papakainga, being brought up on the marae and all of that, bro. The whole cultural aspect for a lot of people, and the Maori culture is starting to get out there, bro. And I got to give thanks to the All Blacks. All Blacks now well
Mm,
known, but
mm.
you know, the Maori culture for yourself, bro. How big of an impact was that for you growing up?
Oh, huge! It gives us meaning. It gives us foundation.
Mm,
You know, and that's what it did for me and my brothers, bro. You know,
mm,
we know our whakapapa, bro. You know what I
yep.
mean? And I wear it on my skin every day.
Mm,
Whatever I do in this world, bro, I'm out there representing our culture, our people. And that is my
mm,
goal in life, bro, to take our culture around the world, bro. And I'm doing it. And I'm doing it,
mm,
continue to do it, you know what I mean? So for me, culture is everything. Same with my tamariki, bro. I teach them the basics that I know that I was taught. You know what I mean?
yep.
Even though we're here in Australia, we can still teach the basics. You know what I mean? Then that's what it's all about, bro. So culture for us as a family was huge. Even kapahaka, we're brought up doing the kapahaka, everything like that, bro. And that's the
Mm,
foundation that we learn. Then we stem from there, you know what I mean?
yep. 100%, bro. So, doing kapahaka was there, and as you got into adulthood, you started getting into strongman. But was there any other sports or curricular activities that you were doing
Oh,
when you were younger?
definitely, bro. So as with most whānau back home, rugby's number one. Our
Mm,
whānau father was a great rugby player. He represented some big teams around the Hawke's Bay region. And
mm,
he was really good at the sport, and he had an amazing mentality, bro, that if you want something, you've got to earn it. So he would take us to trainings with him. And because we lived out on the farm, he would run hills for training, and he would make us run them with him,
mm,
you know? So rugby was huge in our family, man. Rugby and martial arts. We did
mm,
martial arts. Me and my brothers represented New Zealand, traveled Australia, everywhere, man. Won titles a lot at our younger days. So we did
mm,
that, and the whole reason, our whānau parents' methods behind that was to give us, a sense of commitment.
mm,
You know what I mean? Commitment to something, to keep turning up and
yep.
doing something. We hated it, bro, as all children do.
Mm.
All our mates are at the
You just
skate
want to play
park,
with
all our
your
mates out
friends.
having fun, and here's
Mm,
us, twice a week going to these classes and then at the same time still doing rugby. But at the same time too, bro, within a few years we were the best in the country.
mm,
You know what I mean? We were the best in the country, but that taught us meaning, that taught us commitment, which led us
mm,
on to, playing top good rugby teams and stuff like that, which built the foundation for all of us where we were at today, bro. You know what I
yep.
mean? So it's just good foundations. Not only that, um, As for all the whānau out there, anyone else out there that knows kapa haka and your aunties are the tutor, you don't have a choice but to sing. So for everyone out there that's watching that is not Māori or Pacific Islander, that you fellas always say to us, you fellas are great singers. That's not by choice. You had no choice. You had to get in there and sing. And it just so happened in my earlier days, I don't know how, but I ended up being not a bad singer. And that led me on to a show called New Zealand Idol. And I auditioned for the show. And yeah, I was very lucky and unfortunate at the age of 17 that I auditioned for New Zealand Idol. And this is what's crazy is that I lived on a farm, all right? I walked around in gumboots and bloody chasing sheep and cows, and all we had was a guitar, and we'd jam up with the marae for the whānau. We'd just jam. And I was very thankful at school that even though I wasn't smart, I was very good at music. And honestly, it was the only reason I went to high school was for music. So I auditioned for the show, and it turned out that I wasn't a bad singer. So I auditioned for the show at I auditioned for the show at 17. By then I had left school and I was working at the local freezing works. So I was auditioning, and this is what's crazy is I was practicing singing in the chillers of the freezing works while I'm cutting up the meat. So that was my audition room. So anyway, I head down to Wellington, audition for the show. They give me the thumbs up. Before I know it, they flown me from Mohaka, and now I'm sitting in Auckland, taking a country boy out of the country, dropped him in the city. I don't know what's going on. I'm 17 years old. Me and my whānau mother are sitting up in these flash motels. I don't know what's going on. I'm singing my heart out, and before I know it, I'm like, and I made top 5 in New Zealand, bro. And top 5 in New Zealand out of the thousands was crazy at the age of 17. But my world had spun upside down. I went from working on a fence line on the top of a maunga in Moaka to now in front of all these cameras. Like, didn't know what was going on, man. Crazy.
Wow. Bro, that is crazy. You know, just that little farm boy, country fella, and now you're in the big smokes singing in front of cameras and a live audience, bro. How's that for you, bro? Singing in front of a live audience. I know for Māoris, we're a lot more comfortable singing in front of our whānau, but in front of a live audience, bro, how was that for you?
It was definitely a shock, and it was something that you had to adjust to quickly. You know what I mean? Where when you're doing kapa haka, you have your roku with you. You're fine. But when you're on your own, it's all you make a mistake. It's on you. You know. So it was hard. Honestly, the hardest part was remembering where you had to be, what camera was on, because you're not only singing to an audience, you're singing to people behind the camera. So it's more of an art. It was an art to try and put together the puzzle on how to showcase yourself to the wider audience, not just what was in front of you. But man, every performance was nerve-wracking. I still remember the feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%, bro. So, after Idol, how long was it before you made that transition to Australia? And before we get on that story, bro, I was just thinking about it before. I got a message from one of the bros in Kalgoorlie, Nelson, and he messaged me a couple of years back, and he sent me this video of this big human being running through a rugby field, just bumping off people.
Hello to people, it is me, Rongo. Today we are here at the local rugby field. A challenge was set up by you guys for me to have a game of rugby, and we are here today, and I am not looking forward to this. Thank you.
Run it straight.
Straight to be.
Devotion, turning all the nighttime into the day. It's all about a sweet love and love.
walk of life. Yeah, you do the walk of life. Tell you the story, hand me now my walking shoes. He come Johnny with the power and the glory. Backbeat, the talking blues. He got the action, he got the motion. And a boy can play, the dedication, devotion, it's turning all the night time into the day. The song about the fiddle on the woman, they do the song about the night. Then they do the walk of life. Yeah.
And I was playing for the Bushwhackers the year before, and I go, thank God I bloody left. I was just thinking about that when you were talking about rugby, and I was just like, oh, thank fuck I left that place. I would have got run over. But yeah, bro. So how long was that transition over to Oz?
Pretty much within a year, man. So after Idol had done, and this is what we've, and I'll share this with the whānau. I'll share this with everyone. I turned 18 on the show, okay?
Mm,
And for a young Māori boy taken out of the country, dropped into the city, to big lights and all this and that, bro, it was too much. I was not mentally prepared for all that pressure. I was not mentally prepared for everything that came with it. So turning 18, started drinking, started going out, started hanging out with the wrong people. And I had some amazing opportunities after Idol to do. I had auditions for shows, TV shows, all these acting opportunities, man, but I was too young. I just couldn't handle what was going on. And I look back now and it is what it is. But
mm,
there was just too much going on. I started hanging out with the wrong people doing the wrong things. And that led me to my whānau, actually. It was my two whānau parents that said, if you stay, you're going to end up in a bad way. You're either going to get locked up or you're not going to be in a good way. So the decision was made that I needed to move on and I needed to be sent out. We decided that I come over here and give this place a try. So it was a whānau decision. It wasn't an intervention, but it was more like a realization that, and at the time I'm 18, I'm on top of the world, I think I know everything, and I didn't know nothing. But people that loved me and supported me said, like, if you keep going this way, boy, it's not going to be good. So within the year, we had decided that I had a cousin working here in Kalgoorlie. She was working here, and then she put her hand up and said, "Send him to me." And there's some opportunities here that I feel he could do well with, and that's what happened, man. My whānau parents took me to the airport. I bawled my eyes out the whole way there, and I looked at them and said, "Oh." And then off I was on the plane, off to Australia, man.
100%.
And that's the
for
true
those who
story.
don't know,
And
bro,
that's the true story, man.
For those who don't know, paint that picture for them of their first trip to Kalgoorlie and what you see, because bro, I've seen it, bro, and yeah, let's just say you have to see it to believe it. What Kalgoorlie is like. So, what was that first experience of Kalgoorlie like for you, bro?
Well, I honestly didn't really know what I was coming to. I was just like, oh, yeah, new adventure. Australia seems cool, eh? Ooh, palm trees and beaches. Little did I know, whānau, that when I flew in, all I seen was this massive dirt hole, bigger than the town, and next to it, like shack houses, no grass, just like a desert town in the middle of nowhere. When I stepped off the plane, it was 40 degrees. So I've gone from a 25 on a good day in New Zealand to straight 40 degrees. I've gone to step off the plane and this heat wave has hit me. Straight to sweat. Trying to find my breath. And man, reality had hit. Looking around the town, I was, where the hell am I? Where the hell am I? So it's definitely, the town is definitely something you wouldn't expect if you don't know what you're expecting.
Yeah, 100%, bro. So, coming over to Australia from New Zealand, a young country boy, and now you're country boy from New Zealand, because there's country Australia, but country New Zealand is a lot different to country Australia. Um, you know, coming over here, how hard was it for you, especially this question for that's been asked from a lot of Māoris back home. How hard was it to find employment for yourself, being a young Māori, only having your cousin here, not having much experience, and coming over here and trying to find mahi?
I was very fortunate that the community here, especially even still now,
Mm,
the Pacific Island community here is very strong, and they're very helpful. So no matter who you are, what you are, someone knows someone that can help you. So I got into town, and straight away I was communicating with different whānau, different people, and they were straight away, man, there's work here, boy, if you want it. And that's what I say to a lot of people. I've been in this town a very long time. As long as you have the positive attitude coming here that you want to work to make money, you will find
mm,
mahi. I've seen a lot of people come here with the attitude that, hey, I expect mahi, I expect this, I expect
mm,
that. If you have that attitude, no matter where you go in the world, you're never going to get mahi. You're never going to get to where you want to get to. But I was very fortunate that I came here, open arms. At the same time, too, I knew how to mahi through my upbringing.
yeah,
So it didn't matter what I did, I knew I could mahi. And that's what I did. I hit the ground running. I got here after I finished crying from getting kicked out of home. I picked myself up and I said, "Oh well, I'm here now. There's a good opportunity. Let's get the mahi." And
mm,
this is a mining town, so it's all gold mining. But nothing
mm,
came through for the first week, so I just said, "Stuff it, I'll find something." I went in furniture
yeah,
and moved with the local company for a couple of weeks just to get the ball rolling.
mm,
From there, I got a TA on the mines, and just keep going from there. Jump from one job to
yeah,
the next job, build a relationship, get a better job, and that's all I did. I just had in my head, in my mentality was, I'm here, I know how to mahi. I just got to keep my head down and keep working, and that's what I did.
yeah, 100%, bro. And then, so I've heard the story before from a lot of people. You went into scaffolding, and bro, you were lifting. You know, you're not as big as what you are now, but you know, you were carrying a lot. Um, and then somebody had told you about somebody new coming into town who was working the doors.
Mm.
And bro, do you want to let us know that story, bro?
So what's cool is because of my farming background, I was always, how do you say it? They say farmman strength. You know what I mean? A farmer's strength.
Mm,
So I already knew I could mahi, and I sort of knew I was strong. So when I started scaffolding, I was carrying around a lot more than everyone else, and it became quite known that, the bro is strong. And it
mm,
wasn't until we heard of a local guy that was working up at the doors or at the pubs, that he used to be a strongman. And
mm,
me and the bros, I never knew nothing about it. It was like, oh, okay. And the bro used to compete world circuit, and he was very strong, represented New Zealand numerous times around the world. So and I never trained, bro. All I did was mahi. The only time you got seen
mm.
us in the gym was to do biceps, for big arms. That's the only time we went to the gym back then.
Stand in the mirror.
So so one night I met him up at the doors. Me and the boys were out, and I shook his hand and I introduced myself, and I pretty much asked him to train me, bro. And I said, "Oh," and he goes, "Oh, I don't do that anymore." And I keep hassling him. He told me to piss off. you know. It wasn't until a couple of weeks later I met him sober, and I asked him again. I said, "Oh, bro, we would really look forward to if you would train me and show me a few things." And that's when the journey began with that.
Mm,
And that's where the strength journey began.
yeah, and you joined the strongman quite late. Um, you know, late into your life. Some
Oh,
people train from
definitely.
like 14, 15, 16, and
Yeah, definitely. Well,
tell us about that.
even when I moved to Cal, it was what's here to do in Cal? Shit, there's a rugby team
Mm,
here. Wow, that's cool. There's a league team here. So I pretty much went straight into that. So I
yeah,
hit the ground running. Was like, well, trap, man. There's a community here. There's rugby teams here. So I was playing local rugby for years. Mahi
mm,
rugby. And when I made the transition to start training for strength, I was still playing rugby for years.
mm,
You know what I mean? So it became the balance of, mahi, rugby, training, mahi, rugby, training. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it wasn't until I started getting really good at the strongman, at the lifting, that I had to weigh up.
mm,
Like, man, what's more beneficial or what am I putting my time into? I'm going to have to let
Yeah.
one of these go. You know what I mean? And then I'll
Mm,
tell you, even still to this day, like giving up rugby was the hardest decision. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Like I love rugby. It's born and bred into me. And the day I gave it up was the day I fully committed to strongman. The
Mm,
day I gave it up, I had to get rid of all the spear rugby boots I had in the back of my boot. You know, in Whānau, you know when you turn up to a game, knowing there's a game, knowing you've got a spare pair of boots in the back of your boot, and you just rock up there, oh, get about this. Oh, how's it going? Oh, cuz, we're a bit short now. Got some boots. Fuck, why do you say that, cuz? I just got a pair in the back. Cuz, wow. Wouldn't believe it. Wouldn't believe it.
uh,
So, man,
but
yeah,
just
that was the big transition.
but just a quick question. So, um, for those who don't know, Rongo actually owns his own scaffolding business over in Kalgoorlie. Now, was that prior to you doing strongman, or was that post strongman?
It was about the same time. Everything
Mm,
happened about the same time. Yeah, we went into business. So it was yeah.
mm.
So it was
And
that was another big decision too.
the reason I asked is because there's a lot of Māori entrepreneurs coming out of the woodworks, and now they you got Māoris who are coming into clothing or modeling, or we're trying to start that pathway for young Māori entrepreneurs because we're quite creative thinkers. So how did you get into business from a business standpoint?
Um, Gee, it became because me and my mate that started our first business. We traveled most of Australia working in the mines, you know.
Mm,
And on our travels, we got to work with different people, different companies, learning different things. And we always based ourselves out of Kalgoorlie. And we went away for a few years, and we came back to Kalgoorlie to set up. We're like, okay, we've done our we've done our tour around Australia working. Let's come back. And when we came back, we seen that there was a big market. There was a lot of things that weren't doing that they were doing elsewhere. And when we
mm,
brought our ideas up to some of the companies, they pretty much told us to shut your mouth, be quiet. If you don't like it, piss off. And me, being stubborn as I was, I said, well, stuff you then. And left my job at the time, no plan, and just had this wild idea like, you know what? I will take your advice. If I don't like it, do it myself. And that's what me and my mate did.
mm,
We started from the bottom, had nothing, put a plan together, put up things we had, and it was two of us doing like 5 main jobs. You know, we were supposed to have
mm,
a crew of five, and it was only me and him, and we did it. We started from nothing. You know, just like
yeah,
everyone out there, funny. You got to remember that this is what I want to say to everyone, and I say it to everyone I speak to. I say, no matter what your idea is, no matter what your dream is, no matter what your goal is, people aren't gonna believe in you. People aren't gonna see what you're trying to do, but it doesn't matter. It does not
mm,
matter what other people think, because at the end of the day, do other people pay your bills? No, they don't. Do other people
yeah,
look after you and your family? At times they do, but at the end of the day, it's solely on your shoulders. So it becomes down to, if you do have a dream and a goal, man, go for it. And that's what we did. We started
mm,
with nothing, from nothing. Man, I could barely read and write at the time. You know,
yeah,
I'm very thankful that my wife, at the time, my partner, she was very smart and helped me and my maid out. You know, she helped us out with the paperwork. She helped us out with filling out forms, you know, all this sort of stuff. Helped us out
mm,
getting our tickets and all the stuff we needed, insurances. But what we didn't, we lacked on the education side, but we made up on the mahi side.
yeah,
We knew how to work hard. We knew how to do our job very well. We knew how to communicate with people, and we knew we could make it work. In my mind, there was nothing going to stop us. In my mind, I
yeah,
knew the concept. I knew what we had to do. It was just putting it together and hitting it right. And we went for it, man. You know what I mean? We went for it.
mm,
I tell you right now, business and life is not easy, Fana. It's not. You're gonna learn a lot of lessons. You're gonna go through a lot of ups and downs. It's not easy. If it was easy, everyone would do that. You got to remember that.
yeah.
So, man, the amount of lessons we learned over the years was crazy.
100%, bro. All right, bro. So we'll go back on topic. I had to ask that myself. You
No,
know,
cool, bro. Cool, bro.
um, so how was that first training for you, bro? I'm pretty sure the bro, you've pestered him for so long. He's
Cuz,
probably going, I'm
it
going to
was
give
a
it to this
nightmare.
fella.
Cuz, anyone out there got that uncle out that just thrashes you for no reason? Hey, when you're out there doing
Yep.
the mahi or something and they just thrash you? That's what happened, bro. So the bro finally agreed to trade me, cuz, and he goes, come on then, boy. Bro, he thrashed shit out of me, father. He thrashed me. But he did that solely to see if I had what it took um, to do the sport and to for him to take his time into training me. You know what I mean? Nothing is ever given; everything is earned. And people out there that have done big good things, you have to earn it. And I have taken that same method that he taught me to everyone that trains with me. You know your
Yep.
first session if you can handle training with me because I'll put you through your paces. That's what mahi too.
100%,
Okay.
bro. So, training hard at any time, did you ever feel like, I just want to go back to rugby, bro. This is way too hard for me. I'm sort of over my head with this.
Daily, daily.
Mm,
Even still today, those thoughts creep in. You know what I mean?
yep.
And they constantly creep in. But that's just laziness creeping in my brain. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
just the easy way out creeping in. And that's our mind
Mm,
does that. And it constantly does that. Not only with training, with life. How many times you
yep.
should do something and then all of a sudden there's that little voice whispering in you, you'll be alright, bro. Don't worry about that. And it becomes it's something that's always there, but you've got to protect yourself and do good habits to make sure that you hold yourself accountable.
Yep.
So I was very lucky that I had I had a trainer. So no
Mm,
matter what, he always had me. So I had to turn up one for him, but also for my training partners. So I had things to hold me accountable. But shit, man, I think we trained for about a year before I did my first comp. And man, that was a local comp. Um, and like we were training in the desert in a shed. Okay, that's all we had, bro. Was just the bare basics out of a shed. We didn't really train in normal gyms, because what we could do or what we were doing was not allowed in normal commercial gyms. There, what we do was not allowed. So we trained for a year, bro. I went to a local comp in Perth, for Western Australia, and I turned up in a hoodie and rugby shorts, guys. So I turned up in in my in my rugby shorts and hoodie, and all these other guys had all these flash gears on, had all this that, and I rocked up their hoodie on and enrolled myself into the comp, and everyone was like, "Who the hell is this fella?" Comp started, cuz, and I was away, cuz, and I ripped it. I ripped them all apart. By the end of that comp, bro, they all knew who the hell I was, and I'd won the comp, and I won it with flying colours. But that was not through luck, cuz that was hard mahi. That was a year of hard mahi behind closed doors before I stood out and went head to head with the best in our area. So that was cool, bro. From there, we went and I don't know why, but my coach at the time, after their first comp, just reckons, "Oh, you're good to go now," and threw me into New Zealand's strongest man on my second comp, bro. And I'm sitting there going, "Hey, I was, bro, I pretty much just had a cup of tea. Now you're throwing me into the lion's den." But he believed in me and he said, "Man, the only way to become great is to throw you in there with the best in the country." And I took his advice and I said, "All right then." And that's what we did, bro. Jumped on a plane, flew home, same thing, not knowing it was his name that got me an invite to the comp because he was well known in the sport. And he rang the organizer and said, "I've got this guy. He's young, he's got good potential, and I believe he can do something good in the future if you give him a chance." And on the plane we went, bro, straight up to Auckland. Went to the competition, seen these monsters, cats, monsters. That was my introduction to strongman, bros. Bloody seeing these 180 kilo men now, and I'm sitting there, a good fit, rugby 110, 120 fit as rugby player. Sit there, cuz, but no fear, cuz. No fear. I've never had a fear of no man. You know what I mean? So shake their hand, look at them, bro. Whistle blows, I'll kill you. I'll eat you. You know what I mean? That's always been my mentality in a competition. We go to war. Whistle blows, cuz, shake your hand, everything, just like a rugby game, cuz. We on. We go to war. So first big international comp, cuz, rock up there, and man, I came sixth. And these are guys that have been competing for years, and that was when I hit the switch, and I was like, you know what? I actually really enjoyed the sport, but also I can do well in the sport if I commit to it. And that's when the rugby career stopped, bro, and I was full time focusing on strongman.
So, now that you found your knack for strongman, and
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
you still have your scaffolding business as well, and your family life, bro. How do you find that balance for yourself?
My goals and my dreams, and we work together in order to achieve them. You know what I mean? So, for anyone out there that is, trying to do well in sport or education or whatever like that, and you have a partner or family, you have to find that balance with your partner, because without their support, um, it does not go smooth. I think the first few years of my career it was rough, only because there was too much going on. Um, I was overcommitting to things, and not making sure that my whānau were in with it too, you know what I mean? So it was a constant battle. These days, man, we're in tune, so it takes a long time. But as long as you're understanding and you're respectful to both ways, it can work, you know what I mean? Like my wife has things she likes to do throughout the week, and I make sure that I'm on point that she gets that time.
100%, bro. So,
So it's a constant thing, yeah.
yeah, I was just about to say that too. For yourself, bro, moving on from coming sixth into in New Zealand's strongest man, what was the next step after that? Bro? Were you sort of looking at just conquering the Pacific region, bro? Bro, I'm thinking big now. I'm gonna aim high, or keep yourself.
Definitely, bro. Definitely. So it was from there. It was time to set goals. It was like, man, I'm going to commit to this. Let's set some goals. Where am I? Australia. All right then. Let's be the number one here. Let's do our very best. Let's put a plan together. Let's set some realistic goals and some big goals, and put a plan together. Put the mahi in order to achieve them. And that's what we did. We went on this crazy this crazy plan that we had. Was like, all right then, I need to win this comp in order to win this comp, then I can get invited to this comp. If I get invited to this comp, I need to win that invited to get this comp. So we came up with this plan. It was like, nope, time to mahi. Let's prep for this comp. I prepped for a comp, and I became Western after New Zealand's strongest man. I became Western Australia's strongest man. That qualified me to go to a show in Sydney. Before I went to Sydney, though, I got invited to go to Singapore to compete over there. So me and my coach went to Singapore and my wife, and we smashed that comp. Became Singapore's strongest man. So we won that comp. Came back to Australia and did a comp in Sydney for a log lift, and we won that comp too. Won that comp, won the log lift comp in Sydney. They gave us another title, which set us up for Australia's strongest man, which was 2017, I think. 16 might have been actually. So this was the best of the best. This is we had worked. I reckon we had worked maybe a year and a half to get to this point. A year and a half, and that's still full time mahi in the mines, training out of a shed with just the basics. And before I know it, I was standing up against these monsters, the best in Australia had to have. And these guys were great athletes, better than me, most of them. You know what I mean? So we turn up to a comp. It's a 2-day comp. The comp's in Melbourne. In my mind, I've put the mahi in, I've put the training in, I'm ready to go. In my mind, there's no doubt I'm going to win this comp. I don't care who's in front of me. I was doubted. I was not put in to win the comp, but in my mind, I was there to win it. Me and my whānau all went over. I had my whānau there with me, my tamarikis, my coach, and we were on, bro. We were on. 2-day comp, put my heart and soul into it. By the end of day 2, my hand was lifted, given the trophy, Australia's strongest man. And what an achievement, bro. That was an achievement. And it was like, we put a plan together, we set some goals, and we're here. And what's awesome, bro, is even though I was standing there, bro, I was standing there proud of my family, and that's what I've always done my whole career. My children have been involved, my family are involved, everyone that's been around me has been involved. And what an achievement at the time, bro, to have your whānau there support you all the way. Because no one sees what happens behind closed doors, bro. A lot of people don't see. With any sport, with anything you do in life, there's hours upon hours of grinding behind closed doors in order to get the result or the product you want to put up on a stage. No matter what it is, no matter what it is.
So, from winning Australia's Strongest Man, is that when you were able to get your pro card? Or.
No. From there, I went to Australian Arnold's Amateur.
Hmm,
So from there, they had the best in the Southern Hemisphere to come together now. So we're talking the best athletes from New Zealand all over. South Africa, the lot. So now I'd got my chance to compete against the best in the Pacific. And this is when it was on, it was another level. So again, put a plan together, worked my ass off, turned up to the comp, bro, met the pros. This is when I first met the pros too. So pros come over from all over the world for Arnold's. They do the pro lineup. So me being an amateur sitting in the grandstand watching the pros come out, bro, was mind blowing because I'd watch all these guys on YouTube, watch them on TV as I was coming up the ranks, as you do, Fano, for whatever it is. If you're playing rugby or whatever sport, you have your people who you look up to, you idolize, you know. So for me, it was like, wow, I'm standing in the audience, looking at these guys that I've been looking up to my whole career, and they're right in front of me. You know, they didn't know who the hell I was because I was just another one in the crowd. They competed on the Friday, Saturday. We competed on the Sunday when they all leave. So, man, ticking the box for goals, meeting all these guys, shaking their hands. And then Sunday was on, man. The best of our region all went together. Again, a battle. Wasn't easy, but I put the mahi in, done the time. End of Sunday, man, my hand was raised. I was the Arnold's amateur champion, which qualified me for a pro card the following year, man. So it was a stepping stone of just mahi after mahi. You know, nothing's ever given, ever given. Nothing's ever given. So that was just some hard ass work, man, in order to achieve the goal. So that was it, bro. I got my pro card. I was excited. I had a year to prepare for my shot next year, the year after.
so, you're winning the Arnold Amateurs, and now you've got your pro card. You're probably pumping away, bro. But then, like a lot of people in life, bro, something can just strike you out of nowhere, bro. And this leads me to my next question. There was an incident that happened that same year. Was it the same year or the year before you were meant to do your?
Year before.
Can we dabble?
Yes.
That one that setback.
Yeah. So 2018, I got my pro card. In 2017, I was involved in a incident and was charged with grievous bodily harm. A fight broke out, and I hurt someone. So I was charged with grievous bodily harm, and I was sent to prison for 12 months. Here in Australia, and when I was sentenced to prison, my court case was 4 days before the Arnold's Australia show where I was supposed to go pro. So I had prepped like I was going to the show. I was told that okay, then there's a slight chance you might go to prison, but the way things are looking, you shouldn't. Stood before the judge, and he sentenced me to 12 months. So that dream went down the drain. Off to prison I went, and life became, you know, life became different. We weren't prepared for it. My family weren't prepared for it. I said goodbye to my kids that morning, and before I know it, I was getting handcuffed and thrown in the back of a paddy wagon and off to prison I went. So it was a huge shock and a turnaround for me and my family. And when you don't expect it, it hits you harder. 1 minute I'm a free man, next minute I'm sitting in a cell that I can touch the walls with my hand. And did the reality of life come crashing down quick fast, man. So at the time, the incident happened in Kalgoorlie, Western Australia, but me and my family had moved out of Kalgoorlie and moved to Queensland, to Gold Coast. And when I got sentenced in Western Australia. So my family were in Queensland and I was in WA, so they're in a totally different state. So I couldn't see my family. So I had to do my time here in Kalgoorlie, and my family were in Queensland. So it came down to 2-minute phone calls on the phone. That's all I could see. I know that's all I could do to communicate with my family. So it was a major major setback, but also a wake up call. Man, people say you hit rock bottom. I hit rock bottom in prison. Because everything was taken. The fear of losing my family, supporting my family, the whole lot came weighing down on me, man. And it's a lot for a man to take on. And there were hard times, hard times. One thing about prison, anyone that's been in prison or hasn't been in prison, dangerous thing about prison is the amount of time you have to think to yourself in the room. The time you have locked away thinking about stuff.
So all of that, bro, and the year prior, you're pumped up, bro, you're winning competitions and all of this, bro. What was your way of, keeping your sanity, really? And how did you cope through those rough times?
Oh, well, it was a nightmare. So it came down to the point where, in my mind, I was like, okay, what's happened's happened. There's nothing I can do about it. I'm in a situation, but I can turn it into a positive, and that's what I did. I said to myself, they've got my body, but they haven't got my mind. You know what I mean? So I switched it, man. I decided, well, I'm here. There's nothing I can do about it. I might as well do something I'm good at, which was train. So that's what I did. I decided to turn my body into a machine. In Kalgoorlie, there's no gyms at the prisons. In Western Australia, there's not. There's none. Other gyms, other prisons might, but not in Western Australia. So I started coming up with these crazy ideas to work out. I was lifting people, dragging people around, and lifting couches, lifting beds. Because in my head, I said, all right, I'm in here for this time. So what I might as well do is keep myself maintained as much as I can. So when I get out, I'm not in a bad way. I'm in a fit way that I'm ready to start training to get back to the top. So that's what I did, man. At the start of it, everyone thought I was crazy with what I was doing. You know, halfway through my sentence, man, I had like 10 guys training with me that loved it. You know what I mean? It was a way to pass time, but it was a way for me to blow out all my steam, to get rid of all the negative energy that I had built up and stuff like that. And that's what I did, bro. I think I walked in 167 kilos. When I walked out, I think it was 124.
Wow.
So remembering when I walked in, I was ready for battle. When I walked in, I was 4 days out from comp, man. I was ready to go up against these pros and go for it. When I got out, man, I was a totally different shape, a totally different mentality. I was a machine because that's what I had vision in my head. I was a machine when I walked out. So that got me through the negative parts. Not only that, man. I did some soul searching in there within myself. I fixed a lot of trauma I had as a child, which is a hard thing to do. In our culture, I'm pretty sure in all Pacific cultures, it's frowned upon for a man to show his feelings and his weakness. And I hate that about that. I hate that about our culture. I hate that our fathers couldn't teach us that it's right to open up and share what's going on inside of you. You don't have to be the hard man all the time. And myself today, I love to go out and speak to people, other brothers. Reality is, I'm one of the biggest. My stature alone. If you see me, I'm a large human, so I have that presence. But what I like to do is come down to people's level and speak to them on the truth and open up myself to them and say, like, bro, I'm this man, but I'm willing to open up and share my story, my feelings to you to show you that it's alright to speak out. You don't have to hold all this in for it to drive you crazy and for you to feel like you're feeling. You know what I mean? Mental health is a big thing, man, in the world, especially right now with everything going on. So, for all our brothers in that are watching, man, if you got things going on, man, like you can reach out and speak to people. It's healthy to do that. It's healthy to share what's going on with you, brother, and sisters, because we need to get out of that mental state that we've been brought up in, that it's not okay to speak when it is okay to speak.
And with that, bro, you carried that on even after your release, bro. I was watching a video the other day. You still catch up with some of the brothers that are in jail now. Still, whenever you were traveling back and forth from Queensland to Western Australia. So, what gave you that initiative to just go in and check up on those bros that you were locked up with, and all of that?
100%. 100%. Everyone makes mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes. People can change. You know what I mean? In there, honestly, I met some of the realest people I'd ever meet. People that have made bad decisions, but have owned up to those decisions, are willing to change. And I made a promise to a lot of people in there because I told them while I was in there, I set goals. I said, boys, when I get out, I'm going to do great things. When I get out, I'm going to go to this. When I get out, I'm going to do this. And I tell you right now, when I do it, I'll let you know. You know what I mean? Everything I said when I was in there that I was going to do, I've done it. But what that does is it's inspired them that they can change their life. Right now, I've had 3 brothers come out and I've got them employment, 3 other mates. I still go in and see, I got a man in there now that's still got 12 years to do, bro. I make it a thing to go in and see him when I can, just to catch up with them. People don't understand how much a visit can help you. You know what I mean? One visit can help you. So I've got an idea of what it's like to be behind the other side, you know. So I felt those feelings. I felt what it's like, but also too, in my mind, I'm inspiring them that even I was sitting right next to them in the uniform, locked behind the same door, that you can still achieve anything you want to do, no matter the stigma. You know what I mean, bro? What, 4 years ago, I was classed as a criminal. 4 years ago, I was walking around in a jumpsuit. 4 years today, I'm a totally different person. I've achieved some amazing things. You know what I mean? The title someone puts on you is the title they put on you, not you put on yourself. You know what I mean? And day to day, I'm I'm grinding to better myself in order to help other people, to encourage other people. That fucking anything is possible, man. If you want to do it, you know what I mean. And that's my kaupapa, bro. That's what I'm all about, and that's what I'm going to continue to do. I know to the end of my days, brother.
That was awesome, bro. Now we're gonna talk about the comeback, bro. The comeback, and you came in hard, bro. You were breaking records, bro, and all of that. So
I I I had a chip on my shoulder, bro. You know what I mean? I had a chip on my shoulder. I was there. But the thing was, is I had worked my ass off to get to where I was going. You know, and for it to be taken like that, I had a chip on my shoulder. So when I got out, bro, I was laser focused. You know, my final was good, everyone was good, and I was out to prove a point. Everyone thought I was done. They're like, "Oh, he's just got out. He won't come back. He's pretty much done, bro." No fucking way. No way was I done. I was only getting started. And that's what I did, bro. I put my head straight down. I knew what I had to do, and I put the mahi in. I put the mahi in after mahi, bro, and I just grinded. I turned up to my first comp in great shape, destroyed it. Destroyed it. No one came close to me. I got a phone call for another comp that said, "Oh, are you fit enough to compete in this comp?" I was had someone jumped out. I didn't even ask what the events were, bro. I said, "Yep, good to go." Turned up there, destroyed it. You know, because I just had this mentality of get out of my way. I was number one, and I'm going to be number one. And I got the call up, bro, to after winning these 2 comps in good shape. The organizer that runs the Arnold show said to me, "What's your shape like?" And I said, "I'm in great shape." And he goes, "Oh, okay. I'm having trouble with an athlete from overseas. They might not be able to make it." And I said to him, "I'll put my hand up. If he can't make it, I'll put my hand up. I'll turn up there and I'll put on a show." I was not ready to put on a show. I was in no shape or form ready for a big show like that. But in my mind and in my heart, I said, "I don't care. I'll turn up there and I'll put my best foot forward." He rings me back a week later and says, "Man, the spot's yours. Will you be ready in 2 weeks?" I said, "Yeah." You know what? You know, and finally, you've got to remember if your mind is strong and your heart is pure, you can do anything. And that's what we went in with. We went in with a strong mind and a pure heart. Me and my whānau jumped on a plane, we went over there, and the vision I had in prison was to get back to a pro card. That was my vision. You know, I don't know how I was going to do it, but I had a vision in prison. I had a picture on my wall of the comp I wanted to do, and it all hit me as they're calling my name out to go and stand out along the lineup. You know, my name was called introducing Rongo Keene, and here I am walking out in front of this massive crowd, and in my head in prison, lying on my bed, I remember visualizing that. Like I'm calling my name up, bro, and before I know it, the vision became a reality. And what a moment, It was a moment that that shit. It was a moment that warms you inside, bro, deep in you. And the way I was, bro, whistle blew and I was fucking on. And man, some of the pros that were standing there, gee, I was just staring there. The pros that were there, bro, I was like, are you using that? Are you using that? I am, but you can have it. And man, we were on, cuz, and I did very well. I bet the current Australia's strongest man and the current New Zealand strongest man, my first pro show back. And I went in and shocked everyone, bro. From the guy that everyone was like, oh, you only gave him the card because he didn't make it last time because he went to prison. So everyone was like, oh, how come he got the card? Oh, that's why. To the holy fuck, where did you come from? You know what I mean? And that's what happened, bro. And people forget. People forgot, though, that I'd done the work, I'd done the fucking grind, I'd won all the titles beforehand. So it's not by luck that I'm here. I'm here right now because one, I worked my ass off, two, I visualized it, and three, fuck, I'm here to put on a show. And that's what happened, bro. By doing that, beating the current New Zealand and Australia's strongest man, I got an invite to World's Strongest Man, bro. That is the pinnacle of our sport. And only a few people knew that on my wall in prison was the Arnold's picture, and above that was a World's Strongest Man picture. You set realistic goals, you set stupid goals, and you set ridiculous goals. World's Strongest Man was a ridiculous goal. But in my mind and my heart, I knew I could do it one day. 8 months after getting released from prison, I was on my way to Philippines to compete at World's Strongest Man. 8 months. It takes people years upon years to get an invite. Yet within 8 months, I was on my way. Me and my family again, on the plane, off to the Philippines we were. I turned up there the best shape that I could be in. Was I in shape for a comp like that? No fucking way. But there was no fucking way I was not going to put my best foot forward to show the world, the world who I was. Got the world's strongest man, bro. Everyone and my sport was there. The best of the best, the goats, everyone that I had looked up to my whole life. Same again, seen them all. Ah! Yeah. Hey, bro. And I did average in the comp, bro. I did the best I could with what I had. I'm proud of what I put forward. If anyone knew the journey that I'd been on and what I had to do to get there and the shape I was in, I feel the best I could have been at the time. Not only that, bro, I got to share our culture with the world, bro. I knew in my head, well, I'm going to leave a mark here. The last event that I was on, I ripped my shirt off, cuz, and I huckered. Because I knew for a fact, well, they will remember me and my culture, and this is what I'm going to do. But I did that too to show respect to all of them. Half of them didn't understand it. It wasn't until I explained to them why I did it, to thank them. Haka is many forms for us in our culture, brother. You know that. We haka for love, we haka for war, we haka to show respect, and that was my whole point of that, bro. One, to show our culture, but to show respect to all the other athletes and everything like that, bro. So that was a dream and a goal, man. And I did it. I ticked that box. You know what I mean? And then that's been a freaking highlight of my career, bro. Not only that, meeting Arnold Schwarzenegger. Also, I got to travel to Lithuania. I traveled to Lithuania over there and competed in a world log lifting championship and won a world title. I was number one at the champ, and I won the world log lifting championship, bro. That's been an amazing achievement. I've met so many people on my journey, and man, I've still got fire in me, and I've still set some goals that I want to achieve, and I've set a course to achieve them in the next few years. You know what I mean? So my strongman career is good, bro. But besides from strongman, I'm on this journey of helping our rangatahi. I'm big on our youth, bro. Right now, I'm working here in Australia, and I'm helping the Indigenous children. You know, I'm helping what matters for everyone out there, man. I'll say it straight. We've got too many fathers out there trying to be kids. We've got too many kids out there trying to be fathers. We need role models. We need fathers to stand up and look after your children. We need families to come together. That's what I see the differences. And I'm just going to say it how it is. You can take it how you want it, but that's what I see. We need more role models in our communities. And my dream and my goal is to eventually come home and crusade around the Motukas and give back to our people. And that's my goal. That's my dream. But what I'm doing now is building a legacy to show everyone in the world and our own people that anything is possible with your back against the wall. And that's what I'm doing. Every time I step out and do something or put myself out there to everyone, I'm putting out there love, honesty, and meaning and culture. You know what I mean? So that's my mission at the moment. With my strongman, bro, I love it. It's everything like that, but that's not what I am going to be doing for the rest of my life. I will be helping people, youth. That's what I'm put on this earth to do, and I know it. I know that's what I'm put on this earth to do. Here's a story for you. So while I was in prison, I got sent away to a work camp in a little town in the middle of nowhere called Warburton. Okay, Warburton is a indigenous community in the middle of nowhere. Like this community, from Kalgoorlie, is like 600 k's even deeper into the desert. Okay, they have a prison work camp out there where you help the community, clean up the community, look after the people. Um, all the prisoners up there are frowned upon. Okay, so that is what it is. We're there for work experience, stuff like that. We're to work. Why I know that I'm put on this earth to work with children, I was the lowest of lows. Okay, I was with all the other prisoners, had a prison suit on, had guards following us around the community, and cleaning up the community and stuff like that. Even put at the lowest of lows, for some reason, children would come to me, say hello, want to get to know me, ask who I was, and my energy towards the children, they loved me. By the time my sentence was done up there, bro, the whole community knew who I was, my pure love and passion. Half of them didn't even know what I did outside of prison, that I was a professional athlete or what I did. But what they did know was that they felt my wairua, my energy, and that's when I knew. Even at the bottom of the pit, I can still communicate with people and with children, bro. And that's when I knew that I'm put on this earth to help our people, our children. And that's why people always say to me, "Well, how do you know?" I said, "I know because I fucking had it firsthand." You know. So it's a story I'll share with you fellas.
And a big example of that, bro, was actually that how much you love strongman, but how much you actually love working with kids, especially your own kids, was the strongest man hope competition. The way you got your whānau around you, and you actually made it to watch having your family there, bro. So how important incorporate the whānau life as well as your professional life, whether it be scaffolding or the strongman.
Honestly, brother, for everyone out there that doesn't do it, you should try it because it's 1,000 times better. You enjoy it better. Not only that, to share experiences with your whānau, for them to experience what you experience is everything. I teach my children that they can be anything they want to be. And I lead the pathway for them. I take them and I show them everything I do, and be an example. And if anyone out there that is doing something, involve your whānau. You'd be surprised how interested and excited they actually are on what you do. You know what I mean? You'd be surprised. And I'm very grateful that I've had some awesome opportunities to take my family on this journey with me. And honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it now. I wouldn't do it. If my family didn't want to do it, then I wouldn't do it, bro. And that's the blessing behind it. It's memories, bro. Building memories. When I'm old and my kids are my age, they're going to remember, "Oh, Dad, remember when we went overseas and you did this?" I'm like, "Oh, that's right, son. Dad, remember this?" Times have changed. Like I said, it's time to break that chain of putting our tamariki into bad situations that they don't need to be in. You know what I mean? times have changed, and we, the generation now, have to break that cycle. The world's changed. We have to change with it. Gone are the days of those days, man. Those were back in the days.
Oh, bro, I could sit here all day, but I've just realised that we've been going for a hard hour, brother. And, I can hear the tamariki in the back, bro. And there's so many more questions, bro. But, we can always save them for another day. So what we're going to do, bro, is we're going to do a quick roundup of Rongo Keene, the warrior. And we're just going to hit you with five quick fire questions, brother. And, yeah, bro. All right,
Fire!
let's go. All right, so let's go. Boil up or honey?
Hangi fry up for me, cuz. Hangi
Too
fry up
much,
for me,
right?
cuz.
So, Australia meat pie or New Zealand meat pie?
Cuz. New Zealand meat pie,
Right,
cuz.
right. Chop suey or taro?
Ooh, chop suey.
Jay-Z or Kanye West?
Jay-Z, bro.
Prince
Jay-Z.
Tui Tika or Sir Howard Morrison?
Fuck, Uncle Tui, take all day, every day, brother. Uncle Tui, take out.
Too much, brother. Well, right, it has been my pleasure. I look forward to the day that these borders come down, bro. I can bring you, when you come over to the Gold Coast, I'll take you over to our sponsors, Flying Fish Takeaways. Bro, we'll go have some fish and chips, bro, the next time you come to the Gold Coast.
We on, cuz I'll be over your ways as soon as the borders open. So I'll be communicating, not for the kaya, but for a big cuddle, man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I really do appreciate the same, bro. And have you got one final
Thank you, brother.
for the whānau out there?
I do. Whānau watching and people that will watch the playback if there's one. From me to you, whānau. If you have a dream, if you have a goal, if you have something you want to go for, if your tamariki have something to go for, encourage them. Encourage them. Use my story as a backbone that anything is freaking possible. Even at the bottom. If you're at the very bottom right now, you can do it. And I just want to give my love to you and encourage you. You can do it. And if anyone tells you you can't, fucking send them my way. I'll sort them out.
Too much, Mike. Cause hey, and where can everyone find you on social media, bro? Those who find wrong key.
Oh, whānau, jump on Instagram. I'm all over Instagram, whānau. It is _warrior _Rongo Keene. Facebook is the Māori Warrior whānau. Jump on there, you can see what I'm up to. There's also other characters that I play that you can find out yourself. Thank you. But it's all positive, whānau. I put out nothing but positive vibes just to put a smile on everyone's face. Especially during these times of COVID. Want to send my love out to all the whānau out there who are struggling and who are having hard times. Sending our love out to you.
Thank you so much, bro. Give my love to the wife and the kids, my bro, and I shall catch up with you soon.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Thank you, Whānau. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to B-Dubs Collections, our sponsors. Thank you to Flying Fish Takeaway, our other major sponsor. And thank you to the Warrior. Bro. Actually, before we leave, Whānau, and before Rongo leaves, actually, a lot of this that's happening today, the Breevas of Mars, myself, Breeva, B-Dubs, actually started because of this man. And I actually wanted to share. This was actually because of you, bro. The impact I saw that you had on the Kalgoorlie Māori community and Pacific community, bro, inspired me to, if I want to move places, I've got to take that initial step, bro. And I've set goals for myself based on the Warrior.
Wow. My brother, I just want to say, one, I'm proud of you, bro. Two, I'm looking forward to the journey that you're on and where you're gonna go, and I can't wait for you to smash these goals you've set for yourself, brother. And I believe in you, and I'm gonna follow you on this journey, bro. And I'm excited, bro. So yeah, I'm proud of you, brother. Congratulations.
Thank you, Whānau. Thank you, my bro.